So the Dapper Boutique.
Yes.
How long you been in business?
In a couple of months, too, it will be 5 years.
5 years in business.
Yes.
That is so sweet.
I know.
So talk to me about why you decided to bet on yourself, one, and two, why bow ties?
So I think the first question, why I decided to bet on myself, was because of the fact that I honestly have been wearing bow ties since I was in kindergarten.
Really?
Grew up with them.
Okay.
And then I honestly didn't start sewing bow ties until about 6 years ago. But I learned to sew in 7th grade.
Okay.
So I learned to sew by hand and by machine in 7th grade. Different things. Like I learned to sew pillows and or aprons. I learned how to do curtains. I learned how to start fixing clothes and things.
Okay.
But I decided to bet on myself when I started for myself, because I couldn't find bow ties that I liked. I started making my own. And then I was working in theater because that's been my career for 20 years.
Right.
So I was working in theater, making bow ties for myself. And then everybody was like, oh, where did you get that? And I said, oh, well, I made this myself. And then they said, oh, well, can you make me one? And then I started making them as gifts. And then all of a sudden, people started handing me money. And then after that, I was like, well, if people going to just keep doing this, I might as well turn this into something.
Right.
And then I had this wild dream about this woman coming to me with like a bow tie and all these people dropping fabrics all around.
Right.
Later on, I discovered that was like my paternal grandmother.
Right.
She had done, she passed before I was born. She had done head to toe fashion, so she was a tailorist.
Okay.
And I didn't know that was her until I went and visited my uncle in Alabama and saw a photo of her on the wall. So this was 2 years after I had started the business.
Right.
And then why bow ties is because of the fact that for some reason, like I said, I couldn't find anything that stood out to me like tie-wise. I always wore ties and bow ties and things, but bow ties always stood out. And then for me specifically, I wanted color, I wanted prints, I wanted African fabric, just different things that I couldn't find online at all. Not just like the big brands that we all tend to go to nowadays.
Right.
But that's why bow ties.
I love it. And you're right. I mean, like even this color that you have on right now, I love it. Yeah. But like, if I go into a store, I'm probably not finding that specific color.
Yes. Yeah.
But what if I got an outfit that specific color is perfect for, like what you got on?
Right. And that was what happened to me constantly. So I would constantly go into different stores and or go online, and I would never quite find what I was looking for. And or if I did find something close to it, it wouldn't be, because I'm old school, I was taught to feel fabrics and things before I purchased them.
Okay.
So the texture would feel cheap to me.
Oh.
And so I wanted,
so you would know that.
Yeah, I wanted fabrics and to do my bow ties in different types of fabrics, cotton, silk. I've even done bow ties out of denim.
Really?
I've actually sewn lace by hand.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about how you could sew lace. I guess I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So, but in general, like the texture, texture for me, the variety. There's so many different types. Like even for my business, I do 3 different types of bow ties, like the regular butterfly style, the skinny style, and then there's like the little pointed edges ones too. I've done those before.
Okay.
So you can design them in so many different ways. And again, it just stands out.
It stands out. It really, it's like a statement piece.
Statement piece.
You know,
it's wearable art.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I guess guys and gals, but mostly guys that will wear like a watch as a statement piece, or now it's escaping me, but other things, a pin maybe, or a flower or something like that.
Like boutonnieres, pocket squares, the little pin similar to this bow tie pin, like just things like that. And I think when I see someone else wearing a bow tie, even if it's not me, that person for some reason stands out to me in a different way.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right. You're right.
So almost like a Dapper Rebel or something like that.
and it's memorable. You know, I have, my wife will tell anybody, I have a horrible memory. Okay, like I remember faces. I have a hard time with names, right? And so I'll see somebody I know, and I actually think it's because I grew up, this is an excuse, I grew up playing basketball on the street, and so you meet so many people on a day-to-day basis, and you see them again, you're like, oh, what's up, dude? Like you know that person. You don't really know them. You don't know their name or nothing like that, but you know them, you know. So I think maybe I disregarded that names were so important, and then I started a business, but it's important. So now I have to be like practical. I have to like say names 3 times and stuff like that. My point is though, there's a guy another gentleman that I know, he wears a bow tie. And I've known his name from the very moment I met him, and every time I see him, I'm like I know that guy's name. And the same with you. Like, I know your name. Even before we met, you know, I'd seen you on like LinkedIn and other publications, and that's Travis. That bow tie sticks out, the statement piece. Okay, so you start your business, the Dapper Boutique. I love the name. Tell me about the first year.
Wow. So the first year I started my business officially was January the 1st of 2020.
Oh, no.
So, and believe it or not, people was like, really? That was actually one of the best years for my business because March 2020, we all know about the pandemic. Right. What happened was me having been working in theater for like tons of years. Yeah. I had friends in California working on and off Broadway as well as in various places, New York, California, Chicago, and I moved here from Chicago. Okay. So a lot of them were asking me, hey, we're here in New York, in Chicago, in California, and guess what? Believe it or not, no one here is sewing or doing anything. Would you be able to make me a week to 2 weeks worth of fabric masks? And I said, you know what? Yeah, definitely. So I did them initially, like I had started the bow tie business. I had sent them, and this was like 3 or 4 people and that I'd known, had worked with professionally in theater, sent them masks. And then all of a sudden they said, hey, I'm just gonna Venmo you, or I'm gonna send you some money or whatever. I said, okay. And then it started, money kept coming in. I said, okay. And then that was the end of that. So I thought the following week, people started reaching out to me online on my social media, everything. Like you had said, it was Facebook, it was TikTok, it was Instagram, and people wanted me to make them fabric masks. Yeah. And then it did the opposite. It started in like New York, Chicago, all those places, and then coming back to Florida, I did over 5,000 fabric masks just for our community here alone. I can't tell you how many I did. I was doing masks around the clock. I would get up in the morning and I would have all these orders in my social media. They didn't even bother going to my website. They didn't bother emailing me.
They go straight to the source.
I had all this stuff set up, like, you know how you set your business up. They were going to my social media, and then what happened was so many people, they were like, oh, we love your fabrics for like your bow ties and pocket squares. You wouldn't happen to have any of these African fabrics, because I was doing solids. I was doing black, blue, the basics, basics. And then it started becoming a fashion thing. So people wanted, hey, I need this mask. That's right. I want this in African print.
It really did become a fashion thing.
Yeah, it became a fashion thing. Or, oh, the game is coming on. We all are gonna watch the game we'll be outside and maybe coming in and out of the house, but we want to use our fabric masks to represent our teams. Yeah. So I did that, and I mean, my first year, even coming into it, I was so surprised to be able to be in the black my first year. Yeah. But also too, people doing the fabric masks. Then all of a sudden, it started transitioning into my second year. It was fabric masks. Then people wanted bow ties. Then they wanted pocket squares. And then some of the ladies started wanting head wraps. So I was doing multiple sets of things for people. But it was a good year for me to start, because my first year was the year that I learned that you can't just depend on one thing. Right. You have to be able to adjust.
To diversify.
You have to diversify. Yeah. And then the people will let you know what they want. So that's right. As soon as they started asking me for things, I started making them.
There it is, right? The market. The market will always tell you. I have so many people that, hey, I got this idea, you think it's good. Maybe. The market will tell you. And the market is beautiful, and she can be cruel. Yes. But the market's gonna be real with you. Absolutely. All the time.
All the time.
That's cool. And the black in your first year. I love it. All right. And I know I can buy them online. Yes. Because I have bought bow ties from you online. Talk to me about having choosing to be an online store. Yes. Right? Which in hindsight is like, that was a great idea. Yeah. But like most people, when they want to start a business, they think, okay, well, I need retail space, I need customers and walk-in traffic. Yes. Why did you make the decision to be online?
Well, I knew going into it, because I love online shopping. So I knew I was, whether I had a brick and mortar or not, I knew I wanted to have some form of an online presence that was beyond social media, even though it, of course, we know now it assists. But I knew 100% I wanted to go that route. Yeah. When I started my business, having online, I was going to different cities here, Tampa, here in Sarasota, Bradenton, St. Pete, different places, and doing trade shows.
Oh, sure, okay.
So I still do those, but it's it's transitioned so much now.
Right.
But I would go there, and everybody would constantly ask me, "Oh, do you have a brick and mortar store?" And I would say, "Oh, no, not right now. I'm thinking about it." That was always my thing. I'm thinking about it. And then a lot of people would tell me, "Oh no, don't even worry about it. Just do these shows, go online, and maybe have a couple of businesses or whatnot that will sell your stuff."
That's right.
And that's exactly what happened.
I love
so transition to now, like I still don't have a brick and mortar of my own, but I've had 8 different stores to sell my items in their spaces.
That's so cool.
And then 3 of them have been art galleries.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, it makes sense. That's the audience, right? Like, the audience is right there.
Right there. And also, too, my coming up in December, I'm going to be entering a whole new landscape with an art gallery in town.
Okay.
And my Bowties will actually be, they'll be representing different emotions that I go through when I'm creating my art.
Okay.
And so they're going to be framed pieces in shadow boxes to represent my emotions.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm literally going to have wearable art in a new space that's going to be opening up officially December the 3rd.
That's in a couple of weeks. That's in like 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Where's it going to be at?
It's going to be at the Leonard Reed House, the historic Leonard Reed House in Newtown. They actually will be selling my items in their gift store.
Oh, I'm going to have to go see it.
Definitely.
I cut through there once a week to get the braids in.
Yeah.
I cut right. Yeah, MLK goes right through Newtown.
Right through Newtown.
Yeah.
This is at the corner of MLK and Orange Avenue. So right there where the historic Leonard Reed House is, that is the historic.
Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah, so that's the historic building, and it'll be opening. It's going to have various artists of color that are there, and it's only a handful of us that were hand selected to showcase our artwork first.
I love it.
So I'm one of the first that'll be featured in that space.
I love it. So I know that you've done a lot of stuff with the theater.
Yes.
And you're running the business.
Yes.
I do some community activities, initiatives as well.
Just a tad.
Just a tad. Here's my question. What is your morning routine like? You got to prepare yourself for all the things you might do on that particular day.
Absolutely.
You a morning routine person?
Yes.
Tell me.
So I usually, before I get out of bed, I learned this from my mom. Before I get out of bed, while I'm in bed, I literally thank God for allowing me to live to see another day.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my mom used to say. And then what I do is I am also in African spirituality, just not someone who practices, but I've learned, I put my hands on my head, my third eye, and I always talk to my own self, my higher self. And I talk about what I want the day to look like.
Okay.
In regards to abundance.
Right.
Then I start my day, and usually after that it's meditation.
Okay.
And then I'll probably stretch a little bit because I'm a yoga practitioner.
Okay.
Been doing yoga over 8 years.
Okay.
And then I start getting into the day. If I don't walk the dog, I'm usually doing tea or like listening to music. Every day has to have music in it.
Usually every morning.
Every morning, music.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it changes. I usually will start out in the morning. It depends on I have on my Spotify. I call it my peaceful morning.
Yeah.
And it'd be like just positive energy to heighten. Then I usually look at in my phone. I'll look at what my day is like.
Yeah.
I knew today it was gonna be okay. 2 yoga classes. I know I got this. I'm gonna have to interview.
Right.
Those things like that. I usually look at the day ahead. And then from there, if it's a day where I am sewing, it used to be all over the place. But what happened is I realized that if I'm going to sew myself, because I usually like to sew getting closer to the weekend. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if I'm not doing a trade show or I'm not doing an interview or I'm going somewhere to teach something, that's pretty much how I'm looking at my day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the structure. I'm a morning routine person.
It ended up becoming that because in theater, I didn't have no structure. It was I get up, I knew I had to go. Like it was, I would have to be at said theater company at like 9 a.m., sometimes 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And then that's me administratively working. And then in theater, a lot of people don't know this, but I started out as a performer. So as an actor and a dancer.
Okay.
And so then that required late nights. And so sometimes my schedule would be all over the place. And so the last couple of years, I've had to start getting into it, and it honestly started to naturally happen. You know, the rule of 21. You've been doing things for 21 days straight, and then it's morphed into what I just described.
The routine.
The routine.
I'm a morning routine dude. I do sometimes have music. I will admit, the days that I listen to music in the morning, I'm a generally positive person anyway, but I'm even more, upbeat and positive on days that I listen to music in the morning. But I'm a podcast listener as well, so I'm trying to consume my content, get ready for my day. And then is there time left for music? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I also have a little morning playlist as well, and it's probably, I don't know, it's probably like 60, 70 songs on there, but, and they're all, all types of genres, all types of artists or whatever, but they're like uplifting, to set my, but yeah, I gotta be up at a certain time, I gotta do these certain things, and I tell you what, when my life is hectic, my morning routine gets out of whack, and I may not notice, you probably notice, like as a business owner, stress. It's just, you just learn to deal with stress, right? So stress all the time. So I may not notice that my life is really hectic until my morning routine starts to get messed up. It starts to get a little wonky because I'm hectic out here and it's coming in here. And then I'll notice it. I'll be in the mirror and I'll go, oh yeah. Oh, I guess I need to tighten it up.
And see, I can usually I can go with a day to maybe 3 of my routine in the morning being off.
Yeah.
But after a while, I start noticing it too, and then I have to change and adjust something.
Yeah.
Or in a sense, I try to make it up. Like, let's just say in the morning, if I can't listen to my music, maybe midday or something like that, I might do like some jams or something like that to like kind of like re-center myself.
Yeah.
But I also, if I'm sewing, I will start my morning listening to classical music.
Really?
Then I'll go, by midday, I'll do jazz.
I'm jazz guy,
And then probably about 2, 3 o'clock, I'll switch into 90s R&B.
Okay. I like
So that's usually because in the morning times, coming back now again, working administratively all those years, when I used to do that, I found that when I listen to classical music, even the new phase now with a lot of like just the beats, like the classical music beats with like beats, I will listen to that in the morning, but to me, I feel like it just heightens my psyche. So I am intellectually more sound in the morning. Then by the midday, it's like, I need a pick-me-up, but I might ease into that pick-me-up for jazz.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, it's like, I really need to elevate my energy up. And that's where like 90s R&B.
90s R&B. Because it was getting after it.
Yeah.
It was getting after it.
That's it.
All that, my father used to say, all that begging.
Yeah.
It was getting after it. You know what? I love jazz.
Music.
Yeah. I love jazz. The new classical music you're talking about, is that like a P sharp? A P sharp?
Yeah, but I forget what it's called, but it's like sometimes I'll listen, I'll go real classical, like I'll go Bach, Beethoven type stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But then, a theater person, music. Yeah. But then I'll transition into like these, like, I forget what they're called. They're kind of like steady beats and things like that. On like, I forget what they call now, but basically they have different styles.
Lo-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah,